West End Live is on today. Obviously, with the current security climate, there's a few barriers and a few bag searches, and they're going to be here for a while because, like, this line goes all the way down the road, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't even planning on filming now. Look, I'm still drinking my coffee, but wow. And like, what they're queuing up for is like a glittery FEMA camp type prison scenario. It's where everyone wants to be nowadays, like really secure in a beautiful glitzy place with live music and alcohol, and that's all they need. Oh my god. Well, this is a nice way to spend your lunch hour. Coming down to a human pen. It's EDL march. EDL versus UAF. Almost like an ancient heraldic battle nowadays. Should not get run over. I read on Twitter there were more police here than there are protesters. I think that probably is about correct. They've got their shiny hats with them just in case it kicks off. It actually started at Charing Cross Station. It's like the shortest march ever, I think, because they're worried about so much trouble. So I'm just going to have a wander down, have a look. Weird, actually. Well, it's not weird, it's natural that they have, well, this is like the left versus the right. So there's the right, and then there's the left. What, about 100 meters down the road or something? 80 meters or something. Let's go and check out the left. Oh, left actually a little bit more boisterous than the right, ironically enough. Oh god. God, they're really swearing at each other down there. Just good to note, City of London Police in Westminster. Scum! Nazi scum!
The sooner you go, then that's the less we've got to do with it. All right, Bob?
You're not going to arrest him, are you? What a surprise! Scum! 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 Scum!
Where's Tommy and the Rebel? That's what I want to know. Where is Tommy and the Rebel? Well, they probably just turn up at the last minute, I don't know.
Police protect the Nazis! Police protect the Nazis!
Well, that's all I have time for here. But I'm planning on going on a little mission later on. Oh no, look, it's a policeman's glove. Oh god. I wonder if there's a hand inside it. Terrifying. Going on a little mission, I think, later on to Camden, hopefully, unless my day gets spoiled in some way. But City of London Police are here, and I personally think we're going to end up seeing that a lot more. I've got a little theory about the City of London and their enhanced role in society, which I'll talk about later on when I go on a secret mission. It's not really secret. Oh dear. Can you see the other high-rise in the distance? There are 5 of them apparently, which have all been evacuated because of the fire hazard, it having the same cladding as the Grenfell Tower, which I hear was of a completely different variety of what they actually ordered, and they actually paid for the stuff to be put up. Same with Grenfell apparently, that the brochure cladding was actually completely different to what they actually fitted, which is, I don't know, suspicious. I mean, why would you fit out something with flammable cladding? Seems a bit odd. There's another one here. There's lots of them. 700 apparently. Well, not of these, but 700 towers that need to be analysed and whatever. Yeah. Did you hear? I'm sure you did. That those being rehoused from the Grenfell Tower are being put in a sort of a luxury block in Kensington, which was paid for by the City of London. The City of London purchased the block and are going to be for free housing the residents. The City of London. And when the question was asked, why is the City of London paying for it? What's it got to do with them? The answer that came back was, well, the City of London have a lot of money. Which is interesting, isn't it? And obviously, the City of London have assets outside of the city. Their police force seemingly now has an incentive to go outside of the city, and their influence is basically being spread outside of the city. Makes me wonder that, say, once Brexit's finished, if Brexit gets finished, and say we end up with a referendum, say the Queen died and we had a referendum about the monarchy and we abolished the monarchy as well, the question would lie, where does ultimate power reside? And I think possibly, the City of London might well be just positioning themselves here to take what they would see as rightful control over the country post-Brexit. That's my concern anyway. In the video recorded on the 21st of June, I showed you like the outtakes or whatever, the DVD extras, where like on that day I was saying that the Grenfell Tower is probably filled with lots of illegal immigrants, and that's why they're having trouble with the numbers. Weirdly enough, Sadiq Khan wrote a blog post the day after on the 22nd saying exactly those things, that he's giving an amnesty to anyone who wants to come forward with the identity of people who may have died in the tower, even if they weren't registered to the country. Very obviously as well, and I read it earlier on this morning, that the people are being evacuated out of these towers, not the little ones I don't think, but the larger ones. They're of course being put up in hotels, which is very, very cushy for them actually. Seems pretty good to me. While they're being refit, they're all being housed in a hotel. But of course, in order to get their plush hotel room, etc., they have to register. So all of these towers that are being evacuated, every single person is being registered, which is unsurprising, isn't it? I have read on Twitter, like many people saying now, oh, won't everybody in social housing now just burn their flat down? Because then the City of London might buy them a new house. It's interesting, isn't it? And also, like, in an investigation of like the Grenfell Tower, I keep looking at that building, there's nothing really to see. There you go, slightly more interesting. And an investigation like the Grenfell Tower, I mean, surely they've got to keep open the idea that it was arson. They're promoting this idea of the fridge freezer starting the fire, and to be honest, I don't think that's ever happened before in the whole of refrigeration history, is when it's basically exploded and burned an entire building to the ground. I wonder if new fire regulations will be put onto things like fridge freezers, and I was thinking, well, it's exactly the same as when they brought in new fire regulations because of Building 7 suddenly collapsing to the ground on 9/11, like completely fallacious and pointless new laws to guide better regulations for building, even though it's quite obvious that actually the way the Building 7 fell down was just high explosives. Local Authority Liaison Officer. They are, well, it's the perfect sort of 1984 Brave New World sort of thing, that members of the local community are being employed as government authority or council authority liaison officers to basically become spies, or a form of spy. And you could say, it's for health and safety, and you need to know who people are, la la la. That's always been the excuse used for like mass surveillance. I mean, most big corporate offices nowadays have some kind of biometric entrance. It's where the initial adaptation for all of these systems is used, like iris scanning and biometric entry in big corporate structures. So of course, I would not be surprised if council buildings like those started to have biometric entry, being like iris scanning or whatever, of course it's a good business model. Brexit Britain, you know, we need to start manufacturing again. We need to start production. It's just that the things that we're going to be producing are the very things that make up essentially just a large open air prison. I keep saying that, it's so negative, isn't it? But I mean, God, it's just always, I mean, places like this just always feel like a sort of post-apocalyptic emergency people management exercise, which I think started in the Victorian era, you know, when they were cramming people into like model dwellings in the industrial areas. The model is mass urbanization, and I don't know, I just don't quite like the aesthetic. Prison chic.